Have you ever picked up a book you were so excited to read, only to find yourself reading the same paragraph 3 times because your mind just kept wandering? Or maybe you've noticed that it takes a little longer to find the right word these days, or to remember a name from your past. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know something right from the start. You are not alone, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Our brains, just like our bodies, change as we get older. But here's the wonderful, hopeful news: we have a tremendous amount of power to keep our minds sharp, curious, and vibrant. And one of the most enjoyable, cozy, and effective ways to do that is something many of us have loved our whole lives: getting lost in a good book. In this video, we're going to explore the best kinds of books to read after 60 to give your brain the gentle, yet powerful, workout it craves. This isn't about forcing yourself to read dense, boring textbooks. This is about choosing stories and ideas that will light up your mind, spark your imagination, and actually help build what scientists call cognitive reserve. Think of it as a savings account for your brain. The more you deposit now, the stronger and more resilient your mind will be for years to come. So, grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's dive into the wonderful world of books that can help keep your brain young and your spirit engaged. Let's start with the first kind of book that's like a gym membership for your brain, but without the heavy lifting. I'm talking about novels that transport you to another time and place. Now, you might be thinking, I already read novels, and that's wonderful. But I want you to think about the ones that truly pull you in. I'm talking about rich, character-driven stories, historical fiction, or sweeping family sagas. Why are these so good for us? It's because they demand a special kind of mental engagement. When you're reading a book like, say, a novel set in 19th century England or a story about a family navigating life in a small Italian village, your brain isn't just passively taking in words. It's actively building a whole new world. You have to keep track of multiple characters, who they are, how they're related, what they want. You have to remember the plot twists and turns. You have to imagine the sights, the sounds, the smells of that faraway place. This process strengthens the neural pathways in your brain, particularly in areas related to memory and empathy. For example, when you read about a character facing a difficult choice, your brain simulates that experience. It's a form of practice for real-life social situations. It keeps your emotional intelligence sharp. And the best part? There's no pressure. You can take it at your own pace. You can put the book down, think about what you've read, wonder what will happen next, and then pick it up again. It's a gentle, absorbing exercise that keeps your mind flexible and open. I'm thinking of books like The Shell Seekers by Rosamunde Pilcher or Anything by Maeve Binchy. They wrap you up in a story and make you care about the people in it, and that emotional connection is a powerful thing for a brain at any age. Now that we've talked about getting lost in other worlds through fiction, let's move on to another fantastic category that works your brain in a completely different way. This brings us to our second point, the magic of narrative nonfiction. You might be thinking, nonfiction? That sounds like work. But hear me out. I'm not talking about dry textbooks or technical manuals. I'm talking about true stories told with the heart and pacing of a novel. This could be a captivating memoir, a biography of a fascinating historical figure, or a book about a real-life adventure or discovery. Think about the difference between reading a news article about a historical event and reading a biography of someone who lived through it. The biography gives you context. It lets you see the world through their eyes. When you read about Winston Churchill's struggles during the war, or Marie Curie's tireless work in her lab, or a memoir like Educated by Tara Westover, your brain is doing something remarkable. It's connecting new information, the facts of their lives, with the emotional and sensory experience of the story. This is incredibly stimulating. Your brain has to process factual information while simultaneously engaging with the narrative. It has to place events in a timeline, understand cause and effect, and ponder the motivations of real people. It's a wonderful workout for your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for complex thinking and decision-making. Plus, it feeds your natural curiosity. After 60, many of us have the time to finally dive deep into the subjects we've always wondered about. Always been curious about the Lewis and Clark expedition? Find a thrilling book about their journey. Wonder what it was really like to be a queen in ancient Egypt? There are wonderful biographies of Cleopatra that read like a drama. This kind of reading keeps the learning muscle strong. It reminds your brain that it's still capable of absorbing, understanding, and synthesizing new ideas, which is a key ingredient in staying young at heart and in mind. So, we've started our journey by opening up worlds of fiction and the true stories of narrative nonfiction. Both of these are fantastic for keeping those neural pathways active and engaged. We're just getting started on this literary path to a sharper mind. In the next part of our talk, we're going to explore two other types of books that challenge your brain in unique and powerful ways, one that will make you a detective in your own living room, and another that might just change the way you see the world around you. I can't wait to share them with you. Building on the idea of feeding our curiosity with true stories, let's shift gears just a little and talk about a genre that turns reading into an active, problem-solving game. I'm talking about mysteries and thrillers. Now, before you click away thinking you don't like scary stories, let me clarify. I'm not necessarily talking about gory horror. I'm talking about the kind of book that makes you say, just one more chapter, I have to know who did it. Think about the classic whodunit, an Agatha Christie novel, or a modern, cozier mystery series. When you're reading one of these books, you're not just a spectator. You become a detective. You're gathering clues alongside the main character. You're keeping a mental list of suspects, who had the motive, who had the opportunity, who was acting suspiciously. You're trying to piece together the timeline, to separate the red herrings from the real evidence. This is a phenomenal workout for your brain's executive functions. These are the skills that help you plan, focus attention, and juggle multiple tasks at once. Every time you try to guess the ending or figure out the twist, you're engaging in what's called fluid intelligence, your ability to solve new problems, identify patterns, and use logic in new situations. It's like a mental puzzle that unfolds over a couple of hundred pages. And here's a little secret that makes it even more beneficial: try to read the book a little slower than you normally would. Give yourself time to pause and think. After a chapter, stop and ask yourself, what do I know now? Who do I trust? What do I think will happen next? This active engagement, this dialogue you have with the book, is what really builds and strengthens those cognitive connections. It keeps your mind nimble and sharp. It's the difference between passively watching someone else solve a puzzle on television and actually picking up the pieces and solving it yourself. So, we've exercised our empathy with character-driven fiction, fed our curiosity with narrative nonfiction, and sharpened our logic with a good mystery. But there's another type of book that offers a different kind of nourishment, something just as important for a young and vibrant brain. Let's talk about poetry, essays, and short stories. I know, for some of you, poetry might bring you back to high school English class, and maybe that wasn't a happy memory. But stick with me. Reading poetry or a beautifully crafted essay as an adult is a completely different experience. It's not about finding the one right meaning to please a teacher. It's about letting the language wash over you, sparking your own thoughts and memories. Poetry, in particular, is incredibly dense. In just a few lines, a poet can capture a complex emotion, a vivid image, or a profound idea. This forces your brain to slow down and savor. It has to unpack the meaning, appreciate the music of the words, and make connections to your own life. When you read a line about an autumn leaf falling, it might trigger a memory of a walk you took in the woods 50 years ago. The poem becomes a bridge between the present moment and your own rich personal history. This process of making personal connections is vital for brain health. It strengthens the neural networks associated with memory and emotion, keeping those pathways open and accessible. The same goes for a well-written essay or short story. Because it's brief, you can hold the entire piece in your mind at once. You can think about its structure, its message, and how it made you feel. It's a concentrated dose of insight and beauty that you can ponder throughout your day. I love reading a poem or a short story in the morning with my coffee. It sets a contemplative tone for the day. It's like a gentle stretch for the mind, limbering it up for whatever comes next. Collections by authors like Alice Munro for short stories or Mary Oliver for her accessible and nature-focused poetry are wonderful places to start. It's not about understanding every single line. It's about finding one line, one image, one idea that speaks to you and letting it simmer in your mind. This idea of simmering, of letting ideas and stories settle and connect, is a big part of what keeps our brains feeling alive and engaged. We've touched on fiction, true stories, puzzles, and now the beauty of concise writing. But there's one more wonderful category that brings a lot of these elements together, and it might be the most powerful one of all for building a truly resilient mind. It's the kind of book that doesn't just entertain you, but that you can interact with and even talk back to. I'm looking forward to sharing that with you next. We've talked about getting lost in stories, solving puzzles, and savoring the beauty of language. Each of these is like a different exercise for the brain, keeping different muscle groups toned and flexible. But there's one more type of book that I believe is the ultimate brain food for us, especially after 60. It's the kind of book that doesn't just sit on your nightstand, but one that you can actively wrestle with, learn from, and even grow from. I'm talking about books that explore new ideas, new skills, or different ways of thinking, what we might call interactive nonfiction. Now, I know the word nonfiction might still sound a little intimidating, like homework. But this isn't about memorizing facts for a test. This is about feeding your natural, lifelong curiosity. Think about it. After 60 years or more on this planet, you have a wealth of experience. You know what you like, and you probably have a pretty good idea of what you don't like. But this stage of life can also be a wonderful time for exploration, for finally diving into those topics you were always too busy to explore. So, what do I mean by interactive nonfiction? I mean a book that you don't just read, but one that you use. It could be a book about a subject you've always been curious about, like the history of the Roman Empire, the life of bees, or how the stock market really works. As you read it, you're constantly connecting the new information to what you already know. You might find yourself saying, so that's why things are the way they are, or, I remember when that happened, and now I understand the backstory. This process of integration, of weaving new threads into the rich tapestry of your existing knowledge, is incredibly stimulating for the brain. It creates new connections and reinforces old ones, keeping your understanding of the world deep and nuanced. But it gets even better. This category also includes books that teach you a practical skill. Have you always wanted to learn more about birdwatching, to identify the visitors to your backyard feeder? There are wonderful field guides that will turn a simple walk outside into a treasure hunt. Always been a little intimidated by smartphones or tablets? There are books written specifically for beginners that can help you feel more confident and connected. Maybe you've thought about trying your hand at watercolors, or learning a few phrases in a new language, or even just mastering the art of sourdough bread. Getting a book on a subject like this is a declaration to your brain: we're still learning. We're still growing. We're not done yet. This type of reading is perhaps the most powerful because it combines so many brain functions at once. You're taking in new information, you're processing it, you're applying it, and you're often using your hands and body to do it. It's a full brain workout disguised as a new hobby. And the benefits go far beyond just learning the skill itself. The sense of accomplishment, the joy of creating something, the confidence that comes from mastering something new, these feelings are incredibly positive for your mental and emotional well-being. They are the very essence of staying young. So, as we come to the end of our time together today, let's just sit with these ideas for a moment. We've talked about letting our minds travel to other worlds through rich, character-driven novels, keeping our sense of empathy and imagination strong. We've explored the thrill of a good mystery, giving our logic and problem-solving skills a fun and engaging workout. We've discovered the power of poetry and short stories to slow us down, to connect with our emotions, and to spark memories. And finally, we've looked at how books that teach and inform can turn our curiosity into a lifelong adventure in learning. The beautiful thing is, you don't have to choose just one. A healthy reading diet includes a little bit of everything, just like a healthy food diet. Some days you might be in the mood for a thrilling mystery. Other days, you might want to lose yourself in a family saga. And on a quiet afternoon, you might find yourself reaching for a book of poems or a fascinating book about a topic you love. The key is to keep reading, keep wondering, and keep turning those pages. Every single time you do, you are sending a powerful message to your brain. You are valued, you are needed, and you are going to stay curious and engaged for many, many years to come. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's the best book you've read lately? Or is there a book that has always stayed with you, one that sparked your imagination or taught you something new? Share it with our community. We're always looking for our next great read. If you found this conversation helpful and encouraging, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps others in our age group find this content too. And if you'd like to join me for more chats about living well, staying sharp, and making the most of this wonderful stage of life, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Now go find a cozy spot, pour yourself something warm, and get lost in a wonderful book. Here's to living our best, most curious lives, one page at a time. Take care.